Okay, so it says figures that have the same shape but not necessarily the same size are called similar figures. So they have the same shape. So they have like a right triangle and a right triangle, or a rectangle and a rectangle. They have the same size. They're not necessarily the same size, but they have the same shape. Sorry. If two polygons are similar, then their corresponding angles are congruent. Okay, congruent is that important word. It's a vocabulary word we're going to talk about. Over here on the board, I wrote congruent means equal. It represents this sign. So down here below the wording, I want you to write congruent. And I want you to write means. So congruent right here, this is what congruent looks like. It means equal. Okay? So congruent angles means the angles are equal. Okay? And if their polygons are similar, the whole thing that we're talking about is similar figures. Okay? That's the big key right there. The ratios of their corresponding side lengths are equivalent. So the ratios are equivalent. So they would have both equal the same fraction. They would scale up and down to the same thing everywhere. So that's what we're looking at. Equivalent also means what? Equal. Okay? So this one right here is just telling you, trying to decide if two figures are similar. So they're asking, based on all the information that it gives us over there, are these two figures similar? And we're going to decide that. We're going to say, determine whether triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. Okay, I need you to fix something real little right here. I want you to go ahead and make this into a triangle. I don't know why it changed it to lines right there in the conversion, but for some reason it did. Okay, so are the corresponding angles congruent? So we're looking at corresponding. When we talk about these triangles, they give us an order. Okay, when they give us an order like that, they're telling us something by the way they write the letters. They're telling us that angle A and angle D are in the same position. Does that make sense? They're both first. So if they're similar figures, then both of those angles are congruent. So if you come over here, both angle A and angle D have one line. That is telling us that they are equal angles. That one line means that angle A and angle D are equal to each other. That's why they put one line there. Okay. So angle B is the next letter in line, and angle E. So if we come over here, angle B has 2 lines, and angle E has 2 lines. So that's saying that those two angles are also equal. And they're saying that in this statement right here, in that congruent statement. Angle B is congruent or equal to angle E. Okay? And then our last one is angle C and angle F. Angle C has 3 lines. Okay? Angle F has 3 lines. Okay? So angle C and angle F are congruent. Okay? So based on that, all those angles, the matching angles, are congruent. So if I said angle B is 100 degrees, then what would angle E be? 100. Why? Because they're congruent, so they're equal. They're in the same spot, and we show by the signs right there that they're equal degrees.
If they're equal, then why isn't the triangle the same size? Exactly. Well, it's just taking the size.
Okay. So look, reread this. Okay, you had a good question. Reread this. It says, just because, okay, so angles are congruent, but sides are proportional. So, you know, when we talk about models of things, right, because that's kind of what we're dealing with, similar figures, like a model car is like an exact replica of a big car, right? Okay, so everything is like the exact same except smaller scale. So that's what this is. This is a smaller scale version. This triangle is a smaller scale version of this triangle. Okay, so it's just a scaled down version or a scaled up version, whatever we need. You with me there? Okay, so proportional sides. If you look at this, we're going to talk about highlighting sides, and I think y'all have done that before because everybody seems pretty familiar with it. So I'm going to show you that AB and DE, because it's angle 1 to angle 2, angle 1 to angle 2. Okay, if I line them up, AB over DE equals 4 over 6. So there's my number. There's my number. That reduces to 2/3. Correct? Yeah. Okay. So angle BC. Angle BC. So angle BC here. Okay. What's up? Oh my gosh, what are you going to do to me?
I don't know. They didn't tell me.
Whose class are you in? Okay. Like, you need just a plain picture?
Pause the video.
No, hold on. Let me pause my video. Okay, sorry for the interruption. So BC is blue and EF. So BC and EF. BC is 6. EF is 9. And that also reduces to 2/3. Okay, my last side is AC. And then DF. AC is 8. DF is 12. 8 over 12 reduces to 2/3. Okay, so that's where the second part comes in. The ratios of their corresponding side lengths are equivalent. So they all simplify down to the same proportion. You see that? Yes, Braxton.
I have a question.
Okay.
With, like, if you look, like, A and B, it's an even number, and B to C is an odd number, or it is even. Never mind.
Okay. Okay. So remember that so we're deciding if these are proportional. By this wording, okay, if two polygons are similar, their corresponding angles are congruent. We figured that out by this, right? Okay. And then the ratios of their corresponding side lengths are equivalent. We figured that out by them all simplifying to 2/3, right? So, yes, they are similar. This is the similarity statement right here. Triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. Okay? So that's my similarity statement right there. Okay, so look at the second thing. So what we're talking about here, this is a similarity statement, and they had all the numbers and we had everything. On the second example, look, we're missing a side. It's a side and it says X right there. Okay? So we're going to have to find the missing value. We're going to do the same way that we did. We're going to set it up as sides that go together. So they gave us the order right here. They're telling us that KL and PQ are the same. Okay? Because KL is first in that one and PQ is first in the second one. Do you see that? Okay? We're not finding it yet. LM is the second one and QR. Okay? And then MN, RS. And then NK and SP. So based on that, we could figure some things out, right? Okay, I'm going to stop here for just a second. I kind of skipped something that we really need to hit on the last one, and so I want to show you real quick. Okay, so I didn't write the proportion like I should have up here. Okay, there's two ways we can also solve it this way. So I want to show you that if we did green over green and then red over red, we could write a similarity statement. We could say, and I'm going to do small over big. So small over big here. So 8 over 12 and then 4 over 6. If I multiply these, I get 12 times 4 is what? 48. And then 6 times 8 is what?
48.
And that also makes them similar. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay, so jumped up back down here. Sorry, I got off. Okay, I'm going to show you two different ways to do it here. Okay, now that we've colored. So I'm going to say we're looking for a red side. So I'm going to go red, red, yellow, yellow. And then I'm going to do yellow, red, red. So I'm going to show you both different ways of how to solve this. So if I were to do red, red, I would go big, little. Okay, so I would say my first one is 5. My second one is X. Okay, on my yellow, I would have 4, 3. Does everybody see where I got those numbers from?
No.
Okay, so my 5 is my big red.
My bad.
Okay, my X is my little red. Okay, my 4 is my big yellow, and my 3 is my little yellow. Okay, so I can't scale up or scale down, so I'm going to cross multiply. So 4 times X is 4X. 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, so then I divide both sides by 4. And I'm going to get X equals 3.75. Okay, so that would be this missing value right here. So I solved it one way. I'm going to show you a different way. Okay, so that way I did same sides, and then same sides on the two different rectangles, right? So this one I'm going to do the big rectangle, big, big, little, little. So my big yellow is 4. My big red is 5. My little yellow is 3. My little red is X. Okay. So 3 times 5 is 15. 4 times X is 4X. 4X equals 15. Okay. So I still got the same thing. So that shows you that there's multiple ways to solve it. Okay. Multiple ways to find it. You just need to make sure you're setting it up in the correct order. The order is what's important. Okay. So I want you to try number one on the exercise. Just says determine whether the rectangle ABCD is similar. So we're deciding if they're similar. So similar is what we did on the very first example. We just set it, colored it, and then set it equal to each other and cross multiplied. And if it's equal, then it's proportional. If it's not equal, then it's not proportional. Okay? But you have to make sure the sides are matching up. Okay? So I want you to try that one. And then we'll go over it here in just a minute. Okay? The thing about this one is the little turns. Okay? So we have to pay attention. That's when that wording comes back into play. So that wording right here is where it lines up. So AB, what's the line that matches up with AB? WX. WX. So WX. Make sure you pay attention to that lining. Okay? It's going to rotate the figures around, and we got to just be careful. Okay? Then BC. So it would go X, Y. Look, you see where I'm getting the letters from. Okay? And then CD. WZ, or YZ, sorry. YZ. And then you would do WZ and AD. AD, WZ. Okay, do y'all see where that might have been a little confusing? Okay, so yeah, it's a little confusing. Now we write the proportion. Okay, so we write the proportion. Here, we say, I would say red, red. Okay, red, 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 red. And then yellow, please stop. Yellow, yellow. Okay, so if I need to change that color. Okay. So that being said, red is 12 over 9.6. So I did this one, big over little. And then yellow would be 5 over 4. So if I multiply these, 9.6 times 5 and 12 times 4, I would get 48. So you should have got 48 on both sides. Okay, so let's color this one. Watch the angles. Look, those angles match up. Okay, these angles match up. And then these angles match up based on this one. So check that next one, okay? So work on number 2 and we'll talk about it in just a minute.